2003, Pixar released their newest movie called Finding Nemo, and needless to say that it became a massive phenomenon. Its cultural impact is gigantic. How many times have you seen someone name a clownfish Nemo? Or how many people in your circle know of this movie? I think this movie is undeniably popular, and the general consensus of it is that it's really good. And some people even go as far as to call it Pixar's best work. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I wouldn't go that far and call it one of Pixar's best movies. I have an unpopular opinion about this movie, and if you know me, you probably know that I have many hot takes and that I live for it. Now in this 5th episode of ranking every Pixar movie ever made, we'll go over Finding Nemo, a movie that I consider to be overrated. If you're new to this channel, hi, welcome. And if you want to support this small channel of mine, please consider subscribing to it. Now, enough yapping said, let's go over this movie. And don't forget that this entire video is subjective and that you have the right to have your own opinion. So, Finding Nemo starts off with two clownfishes in love that are waiting for like a billion babies. Their happy moment abruptly stops when an evil and menacing fish has an eye contact with both of them. Coral, the female clownfish, feeling like Superman that day, tries to save her million babies, but all it does is alert the evil fish and he starts to strike at them. Marlin, the male clownfish, then fights back, but gets whooped by the menacing fish and falls asleep. When he wakes up, his lover and his trillion babies are all gone, except for one little baby clownfish he decided to name Nemo. Years pass, and Nemo gets sent to school for the first time. During class, he tries to impress his classmates by touching a boat, which really scares them all, and his father, who was spying on him, because he's a bit of a control freak. In a shocking turn of events, Nemo gets captured by humans, and his father decides to go to his rescue. Lost in the ocean, he meets Dory, a fish with a short-term memory loss, and she wants to help him find his son. A son that she will eventually forget like 43,000 times during this movie.
Oh no.
They then meet a shark that totally does not look like a creep at all, and gets invited, well, more like forced to go to a shark party. Turns out, it's a meeting for sharks that want to become friendly towards fishes, but that are still racist towards dolphins.
Fish are friends, not food.
Except stinking dolphins.
Marlin then finds the mask of the man who stole his child from him, but can't read shit, so he asks Dory to read it for him. Problem is, Dory gets slingshotted by the mask and starts bleeding, which makes one of the sharks go crazy, because blood is like crack cocaine for sharks. He starts to chase them, but the small fishes get away and somehow create an underwater explosion. In the meantime, Nemo arrives at a dentist's place and gets welcomed by a group of sea animals inside an aquarium. We discover that Nemo will be gifted to the dentist's niece, who has a reputation of being kind of an animal abuser. During that time, Marlin and Dory lose the mask in the bathypelagic zone, if I pronounce it correctly, of the ocean, and fights off a very creepy anglerfish to get it back. Dory then takes her sweet time to read what's written behind the mask, which gives them the address of where Nemo is located, and it's surprisingly the only thing Dory is able to remember for more than 30 seconds. They then start their journey towards Sydney, while Nemo gets baptized and renamed Shark Bait, which is a totally meaningless name if you would ask me. Marlin and Dory then meet a lot of fellas on their way to Sydney, starting off with a bunch of moonfishes that are able to create images together. Then they find jellyfishes, which almost killed both of them, but they were saved by the chillest turtle on the planet named Crush. And finally, they finish off their journey by going inside a whale's mouth and getting ejected from it. During that time, Nemo and Gil make up a plan to get them all out of the fish tank, which didn't work at first and almost got Nemo killed. But Nemo didn't give up, because he tried a second time to get the fish tank dirty, and this time it worked. Until the dentist installed a self-cleaning machine for the tank. Marlin and Dory then escape a bunch of selfish seagulls that wanted to eat them by going inside a pelican's mouth that knows where Nemo is located. Yeah, this movie is a bit crazy and disgusting at times. When they arrive at the dentist's place, everything happens all at once. Darla, the dentist's niece, enters the place with a psycho sound effect following her in. Nemo gets out of the fish tank and fakes his death. The pelican, along with Marlin and Dory, try to save Nemo, but are incapable of it. And Gil, feeling like Superman that day, saves the day by making Nemo go down the drain. Nemo then finds his dad and Dory in a treated sewage zone, and the movie ends. Until Dory gets captured alongside 10 million fishes. Nemo and Marlin then use their charisma to convince the fishes to swim down to save themselves, which somehow works. Our trio of fish then goes back to Marlin's place, then send Nemo on his real first school day, and the movie ends. And so, that was a summary of the movie. Now, what did I think of it? Well, there's a lot of things that I appreciate in this movie, but there's also a couple of things that I didn't like too much. The story in general is pretty fine. It's a bit simple, being about a father and son looking out for each other, but what makes it more unique and special is its environments. It's a story featuring sea animals in the ocean, which makes this movie more recognizable and memorable. Usually, I'm not a fan of movies about small species of animals, and if you've been following my Pixar ranking, you know that it's something that I didn't quite like in A Bug's Life. But in Finding Nemo, there's something that I think made it more enjoyable than in A Bug's Life. The size of the environments. Instead of having small animals in a big world, we have small animals in a world built to accommodate their size, which I think makes the environments more enjoyable to watch visually. The underlying message of the movie is honestly one that isn't really impactful for me. It might be for a lot of parents out there, but as a young man with no child, at least that I know of, the message of letting children grow by allowing them to discover the world and take risks isn't one that made me rethink about our purpose in the world, you know? Again, it's all a matter of preferences here. Because if I leave my dumbass opinion away, I think this underlying message is fine. Now, where I think this movie excelled is when it comes to its characters. Nemo is a likable child with desires to take risks and explore the ocean, which makes this movie more intriguing at times. He also had a nice growth during the time he was in a fish tank, starting to believe more in himself and developing courage. Marlin was also pretty likable, even if he could be annoying at times, with the way he was a control freak around his only child and the way he spoke to Dory at times. But it makes sense with the purpose and intentions surrounding his character, so I won't complain about that. Now here comes one hell of a hot take. Are you ready? I think this movie's story was damaged by Dory's character. I know, how dare I say that? Well, before you try to find my address and burn my place to the ground, let me explain myself. Dory, in general, is honestly the most memorable and funny character of the movie. She's a really sweet person with a lot of courage and devotion, but her condition made things so much worse in this movie. Even though it was the point, like, I get it. The concept of her losing her memory all the time is funny on paper, but all it did, in my opinion, is give some funny scenes to the movie and lengthen it too much. So many bad things happened in this movie because Dory couldn't remember shit. And yeah, I'll have to admit, it made the movie more captivating, but it also made it more frustrating. Sometimes I feel like I was losing my time watching this movie because some of its scenes are stretched because of Dory. And so that's why I believe Dory kind of made the movie a bit worse for me, even if I love her overall character. Also, the characters' relationships were pretty well made in my opinion. I think Marlin and Nemo's chemistry worked, and I think Marlin's love for his son and his determination to find him were believable. Now, Dory and Marlin, on the other hand, had a really weird start, but I feel like once you get past that, it becomes chill and fun to watch, even though they sometimes have their differences. Nemo's relationship with the tank gang was also pretty good, especially with Gil. He pushed Nemo to use 100% of his power, which made him more courageous after a while. I also really like the diversity of characters in this movie. I can see and feel that each and every single one of these characters look unique and have unique personalities, which is something that I also criticized in my A Bug's Life review. Now, the movie also felt like an accumulation of ideas and concepts. Its linear story is simple, but the paths the characters take to go on forward in this movie are just ideas and little things here and there that serve no future purpose, like the jellyfishes, the sharks, or the moonfish, which I also think lengthened the movie. Now, the movie's humor is really good. I'll give it that. But by trying to make so many scenes about humor and jokes, I feel like we lost a bit of what could have been fun action sequences or suspenseful ones. It also, again, lengthened the movie and served no purpose at times other than make the audience laugh a little. These scenes are entertaining and fun to watch singly, but don't really work overall as a linear story. Now, the visual of the movie are good, and what I like most about it is its colors. Oh, I love the colors of this movie so much, especially during the scenes in the coral. The framing was not mind-blowing, but hey, what can you really do with a movie about fishes, you know? They did their best, and the soundtrack is pretty chill. Finally, like I said previously, I feel like some scenes were too long, but most of them had a fine pacing, so it kind of makes an unbalanced pacing overall, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And some editing choices were a bit weird for me, but I don't really mind it. The movie still works overall. I'll put Finding Nemo in B tier. And with all that said, that concludes this 5th episode of ranking every Pixar movie. Next time we'll go over The Incredibles, a movie that I've watched too many times when I was a kid, and that is a huge source of memes nowadays. If you don't want to miss out on this next episode, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button to get notifications whenever I upload. If you enjoyed or hated this video, make sure to leave a like or a dislike. I send you guys all my love and hope to see you in the next one. See y'all.